Hey, Ben Shapiro, what are the people listening to right now?
You're listening to the Torchcast with Kit Bybee.
Off with your head. Dance till you're dead.
Hello, this is Kip with the Torchcast, and today it's a special day because I have a multitude of famous guests. First one is Stewie. You might know him from Family Guy. Stewie, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Kip?
Good. Hey, how's your family? I wanted to ask.
Everybody's doing good except that dog of mine, Brian.
Yeah, I remember Brian. Okay, so now our next guest, we're doing a quick fire guest. Peter from the same family. How are you?
I'm good.
Yes. So what did you get Lois for Valentine's Day, Peter?
I got her a big bowl of candy, and I ate it.
That's so you.
It is. It is.
All right, next guest from all the way down in Texas, we have Hank Hill. Hi, Hank.
What's up?
Not much. It's really weird talking to you. I've been such a fan for a long time. How's the propane game going?
Oh, propane. I love propane. That's all I have to say about that.
I want to let you know, too, Bobby actually got Connie pregnant.
What?
Just kidding. All right, next we have an esteemed guest. Not that Hank Hill's not esteemed, but we have an esteemed guest, Obama. You guys might remember him as being the president.
Yeah, I was that president, a few days ago. Now it's that Trump man.
Yeah, you're not a fan of Trump, are you?
No, I'm not.
No. All right, how's your vacation been?
My whole presidency was a vacation.
From the monotony of regular day life?
That's right.
Oh, cool. And we have another former president, Clinton. And Clinton, I just have one question for you.
Yeah.
Did you have sexual relations with that woman?
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
You're a broken record. All right. Behind all those voices, you might have guessed they weren't real people, but I have Jack.
Hello.
How are you, man?
I'm good.
It's Jack DiStefano.
DiStefano, actually.
DiStefano. There's a space between D and Stefano. Excuse me, D and D.
Stefano, yeah.
So that's why I get the pub. Anyway, Jack, what's your major?
I'm going for marketing, with a minor in project management.
Nice. So what year are you?
Next year I'll be a senior, so I'm a
Junior.
yeah.
So where did you
blanked out there?
Get out of your effort.
Where did you?
That was a mess up.
Oh, come on, you're fine. Where'd you learn how to do those voices?
My dad has pretty much said like Arnold voices, so he's like, "Hey Jack, what are you doing? We must go now." So I'd always even at 5, I could do Arnold.
Nice.
But yeah, they just
Can you do Stallone?
They built on each other. I can't do a good Stallone.
I just watched this movie the other day called Cobra. We'll talk about Cobra in a minute. But Cody is my other guest. Cody Burkhardt.
Hello.
Cody's one of our sports writers. And so what is your major?
I'm a psychology major and a philosophy minor.
Nice. What kind of philosophy do you subscribe to?
That's kind of hard to say. I like taking things from different disciplines.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like politics, man. You can't just take from one side to the other. You got to go. But
Yeah,
I'm a big proponent of behaviorism.
Yeah.
I like the idea that we learn based on pleasure and pain principles.
Mm-hmm.
It'd take a lot longer than this podcast to get into detail about it, but yeah.
Yeah, I've also taken a behaviorism class, and it is a complicated school of thought. But so thanks, guys, for being on. I want to go back to Cobra. I mentioned Cobra, which is a Stallone movie from the 80s. I just watched it the other day, and he said a line that kills me. You know how 80s movies have those one-liners, especially the action movies?
Yeah.
This one was...
I will be back.
No. This one was...
I'll be back.
No, it wasn't I'll Be Back. That's a totally different movie. That's not even Stallone.
Yeah, that's Terminator. But.
Yeah. Anyway, it's crime's a disease, and I'm the cure.
Hey, crime's a disease, and I'm the cure. Something like that.
Yeah, I suppose. So before we get into news, guys, I wanted to ask, just as a little chat, where would you live if you could live anywhere in the world? Somebody asked me that the other day, and it perplexed me. What do you guys think? A city.
I'm referring to the man that's lived many lives.
I thought you'd answer first, so I have to think about that.
I should have told you the question before. Oh, I did. I did tell you before the show.
You did tell us.
You did.
I would choose either. I actually like where I live. I'm from Traverse City, so I'd choose that. But if I already live there, so that doesn't really count.
No, Traverse City is really nice.
I'd probably live somewhere warmer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's my answer.
I definitely prefer like more predictable weather than in Michigan.
Yeah.
But it's really not about location where you are, because you're never gonna be happy just from a location.
Oh my
I
god,
mean,
philosophy, man.
It is, yeah. It's philosophy coming out of me, man. But like, you gotta be in a place where you're gonna have things that will make you happy, things that are gonna give you a purpose. If you have all that around you, it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah. For me, it's like Chicago, but but thanks, guys. Somewhere warm, and doesn't matter where you live, because you're not gonna. Actually, Dr. Drew said that the other day. I remember someone called in and said, "I'm thinking about getting a fresh start, moving out west." And he said, "Well, are you gonna pack yourself?" And then the person's like, "Well, of course. What do you mean?" Like, well, your problems are gonna follow you wherever you go. You have to, and then he eventually told him to get therapy, which is his standard advice.
Can I say this real quick? TV doctors a lot of times can be frauds, or they are frauds. Like, how about that? That girl, like, she came on a Dr. Phil show.
Don't compare Dr. Phil to Dr. Drew.
No. Like, Dr. Drew is worse.
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Drew is not worse. Dr. Drew is awesome.
Look,
he's a psychiatrist. It's not like he's lying about his degree, right?
Yeah, but the interventions that you can't put your client on national TV to be ridiculed like that, you know?
Oh, I totally agree with you there.
There's so many ethical issues with how they both go about their work on TV that it wouldn't be acceptable practice.
Because if you think about going to get therapy, like let's say at Ferris, like you went to the Berkham and you went, your files are extremely confidential. Everything is extremely confidential, but somehow they can also put it on TV. But I guess the line they draw is that it's not an actual therapy session, and he's not diagnosing you, and he's not prescribing anything to you. So I guess it's a little bit different.
A lot of it is like scripted as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But Dr. Drew is. I don't have a really good reason that Dr. Drew is better than Dr. Phil. I just think he's more professional, and I think he's less concerned with the ratings. Like, I think Dr. Phil will bring. He brought the Catch Me Outside girl back on after her life was basically ruined on a show. Now she's back because of the ratings. Dr. Drew just does his podcasts. He's on TV once in a while, but I don't know. He's more there to facilitate conversation.
I think I have a little bit of bias. There's a couple of the psychology professors. I'm sure have you had Dr. Smith?
Yep.
Yeah,
he hates Dr. Drew.
Yeah, he does.
I like Dr. Smith. I also like Dr. Drew.
Yeah.
I asked Dr. Smith one time about Dr. Drew, and he said that he is probably criminally, I don't remember what he said, criminally inept or something like that. But
leave it at that.
Anyway, let's go into news. Speaking of doctors, the impact the Affordable Care Act has on college students. This is one of the articles. Interviewed some students. Some students said they were worried about losing their parents' insurance. Others said they will lose prescriptions and birth control. I'm curious. When I don't remember when Obamacare came into action, but let's just call it right at the beginning of its term. So eight years ago, about how did people get birth control? How did they get their prescriptions? Did they just not get them?
Well, they're offered through like Planned Parenthood, and also birth control isn't that expensive. So
it's very inexpensive.
It is. You can even like women's birth control is still affordable.
Yeah.
Well, it was perceived we needed the Affordable Care Act. We wouldn't need improvements in our healthcare system if it wasn't for Big Pharma, essentially, because if we look at countries around the world, most countries around the world, we pay more for our drugs than any industrialized country in the world, and it comes from the same companies, but they can sell it to us for more. And there's law in this nation that prohibits us from buying from outside the country.
Right. Well,
and that in turn drives up everything, and then insurance companies get involved.
Yeah.
And
they also need competition across state lines. And then also as well, to add on that, you said insurance and what else? Were they fearing about losing?
They're gonna get off their parent. They won't be able to be on their parents' insurance anymore. Is what they're worried about.
Yeah. So
until they're
actually,
26.
the current plan, I believe it would still keep that.
I think when they say repeal and replace, that's one of the things they will replace it with is, or not replace, but continuing to let people stay on their parents' insurance.
That is something I do agree with.
I really think that America has some of the best medical technology around. We might charge more for this or that, but you can't really argue with the fact that we have some. If I have cancer, I'm going to go to a hospital here and not Tijuana. And I part of the reason we have this technology is because of the capitalistic society we live in. It promotes. I'll put it this way: I really, really want the people making my prescriptions and my medical technology to be extremely greedy, because the more money they want to make, the better the technology is going to be. Does that make sense?
What about the EpiPen? They started off as it was like $100. They jacked that up to about $600.
But they also committed
overnight.
They also committed a crime though, because there's also restrictions based on that. So that's why you hear about stories like that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, not perfect. I'm just saying. I'm not going to Tijuana to get my tetanus shot.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm. Let's move on.
Okay. If we're done with affordable care, we're done with affordable care. It sucks to lose prescriptions or whatever, but when you need a prescription, you're going to get a prescription.
It's pretty. I mean, it's expensive, not very good healthcare. Like,
yeah.
My dad, for instance, he pays like $10,000 a year, and it doesn't cover everything. It's catastrophic insurance, is what it is.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad for business as well. But maybe for another time, Cody, we'll have you can come back on. We'll both arm ourselves with a little bit more info, and we'll do it. We'll duke it up. All right, let's go into crimes. We got a it was actually, there's a lot of crimes this week, but they were refreshing in that there's only a couple marijuana ones. So I only have a few on here. I didn't do them all. But let's say someone was caught altering a parking decal in lot 55. Totally get it. Those parking passes are $100, and a lot of times you can't find a place to park. So if you it's a crime that I understand. I don't condone, but I get it.
Yeah.
It's hard to find parking sometimes.
Yeah. And people say, well, get to school earlier. For sure. I come as early as I can to park. But sometimes you have to go home between classes and you have to come back. Or sometimes you have a class at 3. I mean, geez. There's nowhere to park sometimes.
I heard a story today. There was a girl in my class and she didn't show up. And I was like, the first day she was sick. And then the second day, I was like, did she like drop out or something? Then the other girl was like, no, she drove around for 20 minutes looking for a parking spot and went home.
See, that's weak stuff. That's weak. You gotta park somewhere.
Yeah, I mean you do.
Even if you have to
somewhere.
park over at Shooters, you still have to get to class.
Yeah.
And people do that. I'm not even kidding. Let's see. Hit and run in lot 66. Bummer. Shouldn't run when you hit someone.
Bumper bummer.
Yeah. Suspended license on State Street. I've noticed everything bad happens on State Street, and I was wondering what was wrong with State Street, but then I realized State Street is the only road in Big Rapids.
Yeah, it's the road in Big Rapids. It goes through everything.
So.
Well, I mean, like, you don't hear too much on Michigan Street, and that's where, like, all the frats and stuff are.
Yeah.
Well, there's a decent amount.
I can't think of any. Yes, Pike. Only one, Pike.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of the fraternities are all scattered around Michigan. But fraternities don't do anything wrong. What are you talking about? We're perfect little cherubs. We sit around and knit. That's really what a fraternity is. We just knit.
Didn't have a good time on the weekends.
No, we don't even have a good time. We just knit.
No, I didn't say I wasn't having a good time, but sometimes stuff gets out of hand and
like what, knitting?
Broken.
I've never broken a window knitting. Let's see. We have an OWI in Knollview. Oh, finally something not on State Street.
That's a very
on
dangerous
campus.
road to be driving intoxicated.
Yeah, that's like by McNerney. That's behind McNerney, right? It goes around back
Yeah.
into the rock.
Like, I feel like during the winter, I like to drift a lot. So, like, when I see nobody down there, I'll drift around those corners. Probably the funnest place to do it.
Yeah, well, good on you.
Yeah. Don't do it drunk. You end up in the soccer fields.
Well, you should probably not drive drunk at all.
Yeah, don't drive drunk. Period.
2-person fight at Merrill Travis. Happens. They got a warrant sent to the prosecutor's office, so apparently it was a pretty serious fight.
Oh.
Bummer for them. I think at 14, be done fighting. 14, 15. Unless you're defending yourself, there's a really good reason.
Because once you reach that magical age, it's considered a felony. So.
Right. So just avoid fighting.
It's a felony to fight.
Probably not. Assault and battery is not a felony. But it's not something you want on your record.
No.
No.
It sounds just as bad as a felony.
Yeah. I mean, if an employer's looking here at your thing and they don't see any felonies, but they see an assault and battery, it's going to be just as bad as felony possession or something.
Right.
So let's see.
Makes sense.
People were drinking in their car in the McDonald's parking lot. I have here in parentheses, LOL. You really couldn't find a better place.
In other countries, they sell beer at McDonald's, so
That's
they
true.
just wanted to have a
I saw that in
hamburger
Pulp
and-
Fiction.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's see.
Did they both get arrested, or just the person in the driver's seat?
I don't
Same
know if they got
concept.
arrested. I didn't write that down. They might have just gotten what do they call them? MIPs and sent on their way. Well, unless the driver was drinking, then I doubt. All right, a suspended student came back to Travis Hall and they went looking for him, and now he has a warrant for his arrest. So he got suspended from school, came back, they saw him, cops came, couldn't find him, now there's a warrant. It must suck to have warrants.
Yeah, you can just look around.
Every time you drive, you have to be worried. I mean, they're not going to send a SWAT team for someone
He
trespassing.
probably doesn't even know that there's a warrant on him.
I know.
Just walking along one day. And...
I worked at the probation department this past summer as an intern, and all the files that had a warrant on them had a little red tag. There's a ton of them. You wouldn't believe how many warrants people have.
What's this guy's name again?
Who?
Did it say his name?
Who?
The guy.
No, they probably didn't say his name.
Oh, they don't have their names in the crime thing.
If you're listening, run. They're after you.
Oh, yeah. If you are listening, I hope you are. Just turn yourself in. Don't run. Don't listen to Cody. Cody's given all kinds
Go
of
to the
bad
authorities.
advice about drifting, about running from the police.
Yeah.
Let's see. A side mirror was broken off a car in Travis Circle. Owner suspects ex-boyfriend. I think leave the car damage to the girlfriend. Don't stoop to that level. Don't damage someone's car. And you never hear about ex-boyfriends damaging their girlfriend's car either.
I mean, don't damage anybody's car. Intentionally.
Yeah, but don't bring that on the guys. That used to be just a girl thing. You remember Tiger Woods' I don't remember if it was wife or
mishap,
girlfriend.
yeah,
He smashed his car with a putter. He used to just, and then there's the song, took a Louisville Slugger to both headlights.
Yep.
The guys shouldn't be doing this stuff.
Guys are better than this.
That's true.
Girls don't do it either.
Well, girls
It's
shouldn't
just
do it. I'm not saying
ridiculous.
girls should do it. I'm just saying it used to be a girl thing. Now guys are making it our thing. Someone urinated in the hallway of Kramer. No surprise.
I'm surprised somebody hasn't done it out the window
Yeah,
through the little screen.
I'm sure people have.
Make a little sprinkler out of it.
Yeah. Is it technically urinating in public if you pee your pants? Like, let's say you pee your pants at Wendy's. Could you go to jail for urinating in public? Or do you actually have to intentionally urinate?
I think urinating in public comes from actual flashing. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a legal expert.
Going to the bathroom in your pants, I don't think is an actual crime.
I mean, we're not arresting babies. So.
That's
Yeah,
true.
exactly.
Well, I mean, if you're 80 years old,
Flipping it out
you're
or something.
if you're
Yeah.
80 years old, or you can't possibly prosecute that because there are people with bladders. Yeah.
That's true. But those people normally have diapers, so you don't even know. Anyway, suspected marijuana in McNerney, but none was found. People are
I've read that
flushing
so
their
many
weed.
times.
I know, that happens a lot. People are flushing their weed, like Goodfellas when the feds come and she starts flushing all the cocaine.
Or they smoked it all.
I guess, but if your room it looks like the basement from that 70s show, I feel like they can still ding you with the marijuana, because then it's obvious.
The marijuana.
Yes. Remember that episode of King of the Hill where he accidentally buys crack
Yeah.
when
yeah.
he thinks it's fishing bait?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Well, that's fishing bait.
I bought drugs. Let's see. And then we had a marijuana bust in Merrill. So pretty mild week with the marijuana.
Poor Stone Barrel.
I know.
They're in the paper every week.
I know. People should stop smoking pot. It's the devil's lettuce.
The left-handed cigarette.
Yes. All right, a couple more things. $10,000 grant was awarded for Jennifer Lambert, Dr. Jennifer Lambert, an assistant professor at Ferris. And it was a grant to research Parkinson's. So that's good. I always like to hear about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. It's nice. As somebody, you have to be very smart to be awarded $10,000 to do anything. Except for the Ayn Rand Institute, which I am a fellow. Actually, my membership might have expired. Anyway, they have a essay contest. You get a $20,000 scholarship for the best essay written about Atlas Shrugged, one of Ayn Rand's novels. So maybe I'll do that.
I mean, it's worth a shot. I mean, you win $20,000 for writing an essay.
Yeah, it probably has to be long though. For $20,000, you're gonna have to
Yeah.
go over 8 pages for that. That's not even worth
Type
$20,000.
like 6 words.
Yeah. All right. Women's basketball is 5-19. They will be focusing on turning their season around, even though they know they're not going to make the playoffs.
I mean, at this point, that's like the headline every single time. Like, I feel bad for, like, I don't know, man. They're just, obviously they're college athletes. And
Yeah.
they're in a rut. Been in a rut the last couple seasons. I don't know. Maybe
I'm 5-19 in life. I mean, anyway, next season, the Ferris football team will have brothers Adam Sealer, is that how you say? And Zach Sealer playing the same team. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah, Zach Seiler, he he was All-American.
Nice.
He was All-American and he set records for tackles for loss and sacks this year. I think he had like 20.3 sacks and like 30-something tackles for loss, but that was just ridiculous. It's a Ferris record. But yeah, he's like 6'4", 270, and his brother comes in. He's just as big. He's 6'5", about 300.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be Monsters duo.
That's pretty cool. It reminds me of Mighty Ducks, the Bash Brothers. You guys seen Mighty Ducks?
Yeah.
When I was younger, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right? Like
Like
15
too young to
years
remember.
ago, 10 years ago.
All right. I mean, you guys just don't have the same memory for movies I do.
Nope.
You do have a memory for voices, though.
That's right.
Anyway, that's all we got today. Thanks, guys, for being on.
Yeah, no problem. It was good being on.
Yeah. Hank Hill, you want to close the show by thanking everyone for listening, telling everyone to like and share?
Like and share and keep buying propane.
All right. See you next week, Ferris.